If you've ever studied a Viking ship, you might assume that centuries-old timber survived only because of some mysterious modern chemical equivalent. But, the truth is far more impressive. Vikings didn't have paints, synthetic sealants, or industrial waterproofing. Yet their wood resisted water and decay like nothing we've created today. The secret wasn't in covering the wood, it was in preparing it, treating it naturally, and designing structures to survive harsh climates. Understanding this method isn't just for historians, it's a guide for anyone building with timber today who wants longevity without relying on chemicals. Vikings understood that moisture, not the wood itself, was the real threat. Wood decays when it absorbs water, creating the perfect environment for fungi and insects. Vikings knew this instinctively. They observed that heartwood, the dense inner core of the tree, lasted much longer than the softer sapwood. Timber felled in winter, when sap levels were lowest, was prioritized for ships and structural beams. They also selected older, mature trees because their timber was naturally denser and more durable. Modern builders often skip this step, relying on coatings or sealants to make up for poor wood selection. If you want timber to last today, start with dense, dry heartwood, the first layer of natural defense against rot. Slow drying and natural seasoning acted as the first form of waterproofing. Before installation, Viking builders allowed timber to dry naturally for months, sometimes even years. Logs were stored off the ground, shielded from rain but exposed to air, reducing internal moisture and limiting fungal growth. This process also prevented warping and cracking. Modern construction rarely allows for this kind of patience, shipping lumber from forest to site in mere weeks. For anyone working with wood today, allowing timber to season thoroughly before use is a simple yet incredibly effective method for resisting moisture. Even without any coating, properly seasoned wood performs far better than chemically treated but poorly dried timber. Controlled heat hardened wood and made it resistant to water. Another ingenious method involved carefully applying heat to timber. Beams and planks were exposed to slow, controlled flame until the surface darkened and hardened. This process drove out residual moisture, compacted fibers, and chemically altered the wood's surface, making it inhospitable to rot and insects. Archaeological studies of Viking ships and Scandinavian buildings show clear evidence of charred timber surfaces, confirming that this technique was widespread. Today, this can be replicated with a propane torch or kiln treatment to harden exterior timber and enhance its natural resistance to water and decay. Pine tar and natural resins created a flexible barrier that water couldn't penetrate. Once hardened, timber was treated with pine tar, a sticky resin derived from conifers, often while the wood was still warm. The heat allowed the tar to penetrate deeply into the wood, sealing pores opened during charring. Unlike modern synthetic coatings, tar expands and contracts with the wood, preventing cracks that let water in. Vikings applied this method to ships, posts, beams, and roofing materials, creating wood that could resist centuries of rain, snow, and fjord immersion. For modern applications, warmed pine tar or a tar and linseed oil blend can be brushed into exterior timber, pressed for deep penetration, and left to cure naturally. The result is a long-lasting natural water barrier that doesn't rely on chemicals. Placement and construction design amplified water resistance. Vikings understood that preparation alone wasn't enough. Posts were elevated on stone pads or gravel to prevent direct soil contact. Roof beams extended far beyond walls to shed rain, and joints were crafted to drain water efficiently. Ventilation allowed wood to dry naturally, and, layers of ash or lime under posts deterred fungi and insects. Modern construction often overlooks these design principles, focusing instead on chemical protection. Combining wood preparation with smart architectural design, just like the Vikings did, is honestly one of the most effective ways to make timber naturally water-resistant. You can actually apply the Viking method today to make timber last for decades. Whether you're building a garden, shed a deck, a fence, or maybe even restoring some historical timber, the Viking approach is, honestly, fully replicable. You want to start with dense, well-seasoned heartwood. Then, slowly char the exterior. This hardens the fibers and really helps reduce moisture absorption. After that, apply warmed pine tar or a tar and oil mixture while the wood is still warm, so it can soak in deeply. Elevate posts on stone or gravel, design your joints and overhangs to shed water, and make sure there's airflow around all timber surfaces. Even just a few of these steps can, honestly, dramatically extend the life of your timber compared to modern chemically treated wood. Vikings prioritized durability over convenience, and the results are still visible today. Modern builders often favor speed and standardization over longevity. Vikings, by contrast, relied on careful observation, patience, and experience passed down through generations. Their wood treatments, combined with design and placement, produce structures that survive centuries, often outlasting entire civilizations. By applying these ancient principles today, we can preserve wood naturally, creating long-lasting structures and retaining the knowledge that built them. If you want to learn how to protect timber naturally, preserve historical techniques, and build structures that stand the test of time, subscribe to Past to Live. Share this video with anyone who works with wood, restores historical buildings, or wants practical, historically tested methods for durability. By applying these Viking secrets, we can ensure that timber, structures, and craftsmanship survive for generations to come.